Let me first start off by giving a shout out to Kara, my newest patron. Thank you so much. I appreciate the donation. And shout out to everybody else that has donated or has become a patron for me. I appreciate you guys so much. Now, can we stop playing this weird pretend game where we act like what Trump said about Baltimore wasn't true? Baltimore is one of the worst cities in America. That's not debatable. But of course, we got to make everything a race issue. If you criticize a person of color, you're racist. If you say something that's truthful about a minority, you're a racist. Well, I'm a minority and I'm saying the truth about Baltimore. Donald Trump is the only person in American politics with the balls to call out the truth. He spoke the truth about what's going on in Baltimore. He told the truth about Elijah Cummings. This man has been in Congress for 30 years, and that city is one of the most crime infested in the country. But I'm not just going to pick on Elijah Cummings, because you got John Lewis, you got Al Green, you got Sheila Jackson Lee, and you got my personal favorite, Mad Maxine Waters. What do these people all have in common? They're poverty pimps. And they're also black, of course, that's the obvious, right? But what does that tell you? Blacks in power don't empower blacks. How is it that we're talking about white supremacy and Donald Trump and racism? That's our favorite thing to talk about as black people, right? But then we want to deflect when somebody tells the truth about what's going on in our neighborhoods. Why is it that black leaders who control these black neighborhoods suck? Can anybody answer that question? Pro-blacks never want to talk about it. I see so many people, let's have a Sunday Rumble show. Let's talk about white supremacy. Are white people really holding us back? Black people oppress themselves. And when you have black people in power, that's the epitome of oppression. They keep us in this perpetual state of fear with lies. And all they want to do is control us through the means of the government. Look at the cities like Baltimore. Their last 3 mayors were black women. I thought that was amazing, right? A black woman controlling a black city. You would think there's no better situation for blacks. How come all 3 of those mayors have been involved in some kind of corruption, some kind of money laundering scheme, or they just had failed leadership? So don't give me this nonsense about Trump. He's racist and he's talking about rats, and you know what that is? When they say on CNN, they talk about, when he says infestation and when he says rats and rodents, he's talking about blacks and brown people. Okay, there's a word for that. It's called projection. You're projecting what you think about blacks and browns onto somebody else. So who's the real monster here? You know, they did the same thing with Roseanne. Remember when Roseanne criticized Valerie Jarrett, made a joke about Valerie Jarrett, talking about Planet of the Apes or something? And then all of the left started talking about, that's a racist remark. She compared her to an ape. I'm like, wait a minute. So what you're saying is you think of black people when you think of monkeys. Remember the H&M thing? Coolest monkey in the jungle? And they had a black kid modeling the sweater. Remember that? And they got mad about it. Like, that's racist. Why is that racist? Because when you see black people, you think of monkeys? Is that what that is? See, they don't want to have this conversation because it's too real for them. They'd rather just project and deflect. So they want to project all of their racist thoughts and beliefs onto others. But then they want to deflect when Trump calls out the truth. He says, hey, Baltimore's crime infested. Elijah's been running it for a long time. There's still been no improvement. Instead of them wanting to talk about those real issues and address and combat what Donald Trump says, they immediately pull out their race card to swipe it. That's what they do every single time to deflect. I'm getting sick and tired of it. So these race baiting, poverty pimp, Maxine Waters, Elijah Cummings, Sheila Jackson Lee, John Lewis, Al Green, Elijah Cummings, all of y'all suck. You are the worst people in American politics because you sit up there and virtue signal all day, but you never want to look at what you're doing. right? How is Elijah Cummings' standards for living higher at the southern border than they are in his own district in Baltimore?